Welcome to AI Tools for Practicing Lawyers, practical, no-nonsense guidance to help attorneys put AI power to work in their practice right now.
Welcome, world of lawyers. We are really excited to introduce our podcast, which is AI Tools for the Practicing Lawyer. My name is Ron Drescher. I was a bankruptcy lawyer for 40 years. I know I don't look that old. The co-host for this podcast will be Heather Gardner. Heather, who are you?
I am a former paralegal, and I'm now the owner and CEO of a virtual paralegal business. So I work with a lot of attorneys nationwide.
Why are we having this podcast? What is the point of this podcast? I'm going to answer this question, and then I want Heather to answer this question as well. This podcast is designed to help lawyers better navigate the use of AI tools in their practice. Just what the name of it says. AI is here to stay. I'm not interested in the ethics of AI. I'm not interested in the future of AI. I'm not worried about like Terminator characters coming back from the future to hunt Sarah Connor. I'm not interested in that. That's not what this podcast is about. This podcast is about the very nuts and bolts ways that lawyers and other legal professionals, paralegals, legal assistants, whoever is in a law firm, how can we use AI in the law firm to make our lives better? That's what this podcast is. Heather, what are you seeing out in the wild? Because you're in the wild a lot more than I am, as far as dealing with lawyers of all different kinds of expertise in the tech space. What are you seeing?
I'm seeing anything from attorneys who don't know where to start, all the way up to attorneys who are building out secure systems, walled GPTs, and systems that they can use in their own practice daily to help automate, market, business content, etc.
Are you getting a sense of, how people are reacting to AI, or their general demeanor about it?
Yes, also a very large range on that one. Everything from we should not be using this at all to how can we use this better and how can I use this more?
Well, you're an early adopter. You were the first person I ever knew to have a paid subscription to ChatGPT back in 2022. I remember we were at a conference and you started talking about it, and you offered to share 20 prompts from ChatGPT. And I never took you up on that offer because, candidly, at that time, I didn't really understand what prompts were. So that offer, I hope, is still open.
Of course.
But I just didn't know. So what's a prompt?
So prompts are what we type into ChatGPT or any LLM, which is a large language model, in order to get the result or the output that we're looking for. So the more effective and better that your prompts are composed, the better result you're going to get.
And somewhere along those lines, I asked you to co-host, and there's a lot of reasons why I asked you to co-host, Heather. First of all, I think you're super smart. You put yourself out there for the whole world and you do it really well. And I said, okay, that's great branding. For whatever I'm going to do, Heather is going to add a lot of value to that. So that was the first thing. All right. The second thing is, I'm a boomer. And you know what? A boomer should not be the main or the sole voice speaking to lawyers about AI. We need a solid foundation from a millennial. And you're not a millennial? Heather, you're not a millennial? What are you? You're Gen X? You're too young. You look too young to be Gen X. So I'm gonna pretend, at the very least, that you're on the younger side of Gen X, kind of borderline millennial. And if it's not true, at least I'll have that fantasy in my head. Heather, how are you using AI right now?
I use AI for so much business content to create SOPs to constantly improve and rewrite SOPs. I use it for online content, marketing, logistical rewriting, and just drafting emails, templates, you name it. My business has been able to save thousands, I would say, of hours each month drafting with AI. I am using it for as much as I possibly can think of. I am sure I'm not using it to its fullest ability yet.
When we say AI, do you have a particular tool that you're thinking of?
I use Enterprise GPT the most, but I use numerous AI tools.
What was that what was that?
I use the ChatGPT Enterprise Edition, which is just a more secure. It's a higher paid version, the highest version you can purchase of ChatGPT for business owners.
Okay.
There is also a paid version that you can purchase just as, just regular. And that one, I'm not sure if it's secure, but the one I purchase and use is secure, meaning nothing that I put into it ever goes out into a learning model or is ever let out to the public.
How much does that cost?
It's $50 a month base. You have to buy two license for that, which is $25 each per month. And you have to purchase it for the year.
So what is it that you're concerned about happening if you have the less expensive version?
If you had one that was not secure, because I do, and any business owner that's utilizing it, I use two licenses, meaning one I'm using and one I'm giving to someone else within my system. And no matter how much you train or trust someone, you never know what they're going to upload into a system.
Okay.
So I don't want someone to ever upload anything that's confidential or should not be, like even talking about a case or a client or anything of that nature and having any chance of that getting out.
I'm going to say right here, right now, under no circumstances should you put confidential information. No matter how secure your system is supposed to be, you should never put confidential information into a prompt. Never, never, never.
If you're using one of the legal systems such as Spellbook, you are going to actually be uploading motions with the real information in it. That's what that AI program is for. So it will redline contracts, things of that nature, which is going to have sensitive information, but it is built to be secure so that you don't have to worry about it going out into the world.
I needed to file a motion to allow me to combine a plan of reorganization and disclosure statement, or in the alternative, to dismiss a Chapter 11 case. I really did not want to do this motion. So what I did was I went into ChatGPT, and I'm using the version that's about $20 a month, single license. And I uploaded the plan, which is already a public document. And I uploaded a form of a motion that I had filed in the case. And I wrote a fairly intensive prompt to ChatGPT explaining exactly what I wanted. ChatGPT spit something out that was about 97% of what I needed.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah,
that's a great output.
That's the kind of thing I'm using it for. Used it to help me prepare for depositions. I think it's a great tool for that. I've written motions for default judgment. And I'm going to tell you, at the very, very beginning of my ChatGPT experience, I did some legal research with it. And that's when I discovered that ChatGPT makes up cases.
Yes.
ChatGPT writes beautiful, beautiful briefs with strong caseload support, but the cases are made up. And I pushed back on ChatGPT about that. I said, why are you doing that? Why don't you at least warn lawyers that you're doing that? And ChatGPT says, I'm sorry, you're right. I should do that, but I'm a large language model. That's what I am. I'm not a legal research tool. So there are some legal research tools that use AI. In fact, I, these days, I can't imagine that you can log on to any kind of software that does not have an AI component in it. So whether you're a very experienced lawyer who loves tech, or you're a Flintstones lawyer that runs away from tech, you're using AI.
Yeah,
It's part of your legal practice right now.
I think you just said something that a lot of attorneys, of course, are familiar with. When ChatGPT was very new, an attorney used ChatGPT to draft a motion or response, and they were drug into court and sanctioned for $5,000 for the fact that the citations were all just made up and they had not fact checked any of them. I think that using any AI tool, you have to be smart and not let it replace human oversight.
I think that's very good advice. So I mentioned Flintstones before, and so that's kind of my entree to what I was hoping would become a core aspect of this podcast, which is to break down lawyers fit into one of three categories. They're either Flintstone, as far as tech and law practice management goes, they're either on the Flintstones level, they're in bedrock and, they're pounding their feet against the ground trying to get their car to move, or they're Simpsons, which is today, they're in Springfield, just using whatever, tools or information is available to us right now. And there are many lawyers who are on the Jetsons level. They want the newest, the latest, the greatest tech tools out there. They're the early adopters. One thing I've discovered is that lawyers are very proud of their level. You talk to a lawyer, and in fact, I wasn't sure I was going to really go forward with this podcast, but I talked to a lawyer who is a very well-respected bankruptcy lawyer in Maryland, a little younger than me, maybe 10 years younger than me. This lawyer, everybody in Maryland who practices bankruptcy knows this lawyer. And who knows, maybe I'll have him on as a guest sometime and we'll out him that way. But, I talked to him just about the podcast we were doing and everything. And he says, I've never been in ChatGPT. I've never been in any AI tool. And I said, wow, what an opportunity this lawyer is going to have when he discovers the things he can do using AI tools. His life and practice are going to change.
Definitely. Wow.
So, but like I said, people who are Flintstones lawyers, and we're not going to assign a label to any lawyers. You're going to do that yourself. You're going to say, yeah, you know what? I'm a Flintstones lawyer, and that's fine. Or I'm a Simpsons lawyer, or you know what? I'm a Jetsons.
Or I want to be a Jetsons lawyer. Yeah.
You know what? So many do, but many don't really want that. If you're a Flintstones lawyer, you're not waking up in the morning thinking, you know what? Today I want to learn more tech. You're not. You've got your yellow pad. You've got your paper stamps. You've got your receptionist that's answering the phone, that's writing messages down on the little like pink message pads. There are tons of lawyers that are still practicing that way, and they're very happy, and they're not looking to change. And it's important that we respect.
I agree. I think everyone should do what they're comfortable with, for sure.
Right. So anybody who is brave enough to come on this podcast, and at this point, that's just you and me, Heather, is going to be asked to bring a Flintstones level AI approach, a Simpsons level AI approach, and a Jetsons level AI approach. Heather, have you done your homework?
Yes.
All right. So what do you got for us on your
So
three
for the
levels?
Flintstones level, I would say just try playing with ChatGPT for the first time. Just getting on the free version, trying typing in some things yourself to try to get what you'd like without doing, minimal or no research, just getting on and playing with it. I'd say for the Simpsons level, people that are using things like Grammarly with AI or using a paid GPT version for something like you were talking about to draft a first pass of a motion that you need to still do your own human oversight and editing on. And for the Jetsons level, I'd say those are the firms and the attorneys that are using it for far more than those things. And they're using the more advanced tools such as Spellbook, such as LawDroid, such as Westlaw with AI or Fastcase. We have many options in the legal world now to use legal AI that does have real case citations. I own some of that software and I have one paralegal that uses it, and it is still a requirement that she fact check every citation.
Okay. Th- those are great. Mine are, I think what I did was I went down a level because it's my wish that lawyers who listen in or watch this podcast will take away something actionable. That they say, okay, I can do that. I can do that now. So my three uh, didn't deal with ChatGPT, it deals with Google. And if you're on the Flintstones level and you're actually interested in AI, and I'm gonna try to put some graphics on the screen so that people can see it. I want you to go to the Google homepage. That's got the little doodle on the top, and something we've been looking at since for like almost 25 years now. I want you to go to the Google homepage, and I want you to see in the upper right hand corner of the bar, it says like AI tools or open
Gemini.
AI.
It says Gemini.
Right, but it doesn't even
Oh,
say that. It just says open. It says open. You know what?
yeah, probably because
let's
I have
take
the
a
paid
quick
business
look.
one. Mine says Gemini. That is the
Okay.
AI for
Well, no,
Google.
this right, right. So all I want you to do, and I guess I'm gonna put an image on the screen about this. If you're on the flip, all I want you to do is click on that. Just click once on that and see what happens. You're not going to break your computer. All right. You're not going to crash it. You're not going to lose anything. Just click once and see what happens. All you're going to do is you're going to see a screen for typing in prompts. You want to type in a prompt? Go right ahead. You know, you want to ask, did the Ravens do the right thing by firing John Harbaugh? You go right ahead. Do that. All right. But I'm not asking you to do that. You can do that if you want. That's the Flintstones level, putting your tiny little pinky toe in the water. All right. Now, then there's the Simpsons level. Simpsons level, we're going to do the same thing. We're gonna go to the Google homepage. We're gonna click on AI, and now because you're on the Simpsons level, you're gonna type, "What is a CRM, and should my law practice have one?" Just type that. Just ask that. Okay. And that moves you into the Simpsons level. And it's important to remember that there are all of these aspects of running a law firm. And every one of these aspects, whether it's HR, whether it's your intake with clients, whether you're talking about marketing, whether you're talking about collaborating with other lawyers, every aspect of practicing law can be conducted on the Flintstones level, on the Simpsons level, or on the Jetsons level. So part of part of what I'm looking to communicate is that, all right, we're going to use AI to further the level we're at and to make us more effective on that level. So I'm not going to talk about what a CRM is. Google AI will tell you that. And you're going to get a lot of really good information after you click enter on that prompt. And to me, that's the Simpsons level. The Jetsons level is you're going to do the same thing. You're going to go to Google. You're going to click on AI tools, and you're going to ask, what are 5 ways that I can use drip campaigns to enhance my practice? That's it. That's the Jetsons level, because my personal belief is that every lawyer should be using email outreach. Even if you're in a 500-member firm, right, or a global firm, you have clients. And if you just wrote a great brief, if you had a fantastic outcome in a case, if there's a new development that you feel like you should explain to clients, you should have a drip campaign. And I'm not going to talk more about that, but these are the 3 levels. Flintstones, go, just see what it is. Just see what it is, And then, Simpsons, I think a CRM is something you should have. And I don't think it's, rocket science. And Jetsons, let's use the AI tool to really enhance our practice, which is what we're trying to do. Heather, what are we going to do next time? What do you want to do next time?
Next time, I think we should talk about practical ways that attorneys can use AI in their law practices. The things you and I both just touched on, we could dig into some of those things and give people, here's your starter toolkit. Try these things. Here are some very practical ways you could use these in your firm on a daily basis. Here are some ways that it could improve your workflows, your SOPs, etc.
Okay, so I think let's do that. We're going to have our next episode. I'm looking to do once a month, unless we really find our mojo and can do it a lot quicker. We're going to launch this. There's going to be show notes. I'm going to put stuff in the show notes, some different links to go places. You're going to have an opportunity to leave comments. If you want to leave a comment about, how I should manage my beard a little better, I can live with that. If you have a comment about how horrible AI is, and we should not even be doing this podcast because it's a pox upon humanity, I want to hear that too. If you think, wow, you know what? I really had high hopes for this podcast. Now I don't think it's going to be that useful to me after all. I want to hear that. That's probably the number one thing that I want to hear. And if you have suggestions, you know what? If you're a lawyer who you feel you're on the Jetsons level, leave a comment, write us. I can be found at info@drescherlaw.com. Just write us. Tell us what you think. We'll have you on the show. We're going to have a lot of lawyers as guests on the show, because on all levels, on the Flintstones level, the Simpsons level, the Jetsons level. And if you do reach out to us, feel free to let us know what level you think you're on. We're not looking to shame anybody. We want this to be, like I said, a safe space for lawyers on every level of tech.
Yeah, I don't think we should be attempting to change anyone's mind or get anyone to use it, but the people that are interested, I think this could be very valuable.
Right. That's what our hope is. Heather, thank you so much. Heather, by the way, got a lot of help from ChatGPT in putting together the background that you're seeing. And if you have questions about how to do that, drop those also in the comments, and we can talk about it on a future show.
Absolutely.
All right. Heather, thank you so much. All right. We'll see you all next time.
That's it for today's episode of AI Tools for Practicing Lawyers. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.